Hello and welcome to And Read Another Chapter. And this video is going to be kind of combining all of those goals into one video because during the middle of this year, I switched into making 2 channels. And so some of the footage that I have for like the reading goals are on my Sodbuster Living channel. And I think it's better to have it all in one channel. Not only that, I'm going to do it in such a way that it's June. Let's have kind of a where are we on our goals in halfway through the year. And I can't find my notebook that has all of my lists in it. So I have this totally booked, it's like a book journal, and I'll leave it linked down below. It's really neat. So total books that I read in 2020, and then you kind of can keep it. It's really just kind of keeping track. And in the back, there are these favorite quotes page that you can just put in a whole bunch of quotes. I do not remember seeing any reading challenges at all in this book. See, so I started kind of keeping track at the front. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit interesting because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my reading goals video and then I'm going to tell you if I've read them or not. Some of them I've DNF'd, some of them I've decided I'm not going to put the time into that. And so let's start with that video, and it's going to be the first one linked down below, and it's going to be the 2021 reading goals that I set for myself, reading my shelves, just kind of choosing 12 nonfiction books that I wanted to read, which I know that one needs a lot of work on. And then just other books that I've set on my shelves and I want to get them read this year. So let's pull up that video and see we have here. That was a 40-minute video.
From Maybelline, New York.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and we have a lot to discuss here. I do have some nonfiction up here, and my goal is to read one nonfiction book a month. Nonfiction is really difficult for me. I like to process, I like to think about things, I like to kind of hold it up to truth, especially nonfiction. You're kind of presenting what you're saying is true. Becoming Michelle Obama. I have read Becoming by Michelle Obama. And this one is White Guilt by Shelby. I have not read White Guilt. It's actually on the top of my TBR cart because it's like, girl, you need to get to this one. Steel. One is by Okay, so in this video I hold up a biography of Prudence Crandall by Elizabeth Yates, and when I actually read that book, it's not going to look like this cover because I realized that I had 2 copies of that. I had one printed by The Good and the Beautiful, and I had this one. So I got rid of this one and kept my Good and the Beautiful because it matched the other ones that I had on my shelf. So just noting that. And that one would definitely be an easy enough one to get read quickly. Yates, this is Prudence. Story of Liberty. No, have not read that. The 4-Hour Work Week. I really need to get to that one. Ooh, a book I have read. Actually, let's pause here and kind of go over the ones that I have read for nonfiction on my TBR and the ones that I still need to read. I had 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 7, and I've read 1 out of the 7, and it's June. And I wanted 12. And then, so now we're going to go to the other books. One, The Girl You Left Behind by Jojo Moyes. And I did read that one, and I liked one perspective and not the other. And that was my second Jojo Moyes book that I have read. I really liked The Giver of the Stars.
Is tomorrow supposed to be rainy?
No. So that was my second Jojo Moyes. And I liked The Giver of the Stars. This one was meh. I think this is the author that wrote Great Alone. I had a friend that sent me this. Still have not read that Kristen Hanna. And I am one of the I'm one of the few in my circle that really liked The Nightingale. I loved the two sister personality that just came out and how they both grew. Even though one is strong, like she still grew as a character. One is weak and she still grew as a character. Ben, Daddy's sleeping. I did not particularly like The Four Winds. Not like a lot of people. There was like the more I think about it and the more that time passes, the more I'm not sure I like that book at all. So now I'm like, am I gonna like The Great Alone? Because now she's got 101. I don't know. Still have not read Philippa Gregory. So I have tried. My grandmother has asked me to tell you she's sorry once now by Friedrich Bachmann. I loved A Man Called Ove. Could not finish Beartown. And I tried that one twice, I think. And I don't know. I think Friedrich Bachmann. I think I'm just gonna stick with a man called Ove or Ove. Ove. I've heard so many. When I first read that, I heard Man Called Of because it rhymes with love, and that's always stuck in my head. Hi, Black Ant. And I love that one. That one you have to read like at the right time because I unfortunately had picked it up during a really dark time and had to set it down, but I picked it up again and loved it, which is why I keep trying him again. Like, you have to be the right one, but Beartown, no. Don't like the teenage drama. It was kind of one of the things that I didn't like about Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. So, anyway, all that to say, I have tried. My grandmother has asked me to tell you she's sorry.
However you say that, like, there's the I most important thing. Here's a chunk that I'm gonna attempt this year. No, it's really not that bad. The Pillars of the Earth. I would like to read this whole series, whatever they're called. But this is Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. This is basically the history of a cathedral and all that it entails. And I would like to read.
I have not read that one and have been a little more hesitant to pick it up. I'm still so intrigued by it. So intrigued. But now I've had two people come to me and be like, you should know this about the book. Like, I guess there's detailed rape scenes in there. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know.
What did she write? Oh, she wrote Paris Growth, and I really liked that one. And this is one that I have been dying to read. I finally found this one in a little free library, so I grabbed it, and I
Orphan Tale either. But I think I would really like that one.
And not get this actually going here in January.
The Confessions of Franny. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that one was The Confessions of Franny something or another. That was a birthday gift to me, and I ended up using it for the Read Your Shelves challenge. It's a prompt that's going to come up later. But I think I just added that to my Amazon cart as a book that I want to read. Yes! Okay, it just has a different cover, so I didn't recognize it. So, I mean, that's kind of awesome. I love it when things like that happen, and then I don't need to add. I'm just going to delete that from the cart so that I know I already have it. I add stuff to my Amazon cart all the time, and then it goes into my save for later, and they're just titles for me. It's how I save things. I know you can do a wish list, but the problem with wish lists is that people assume that they're books that I want. Not necessarily. They're just titles I'm trying to save so that I can research more and save more and all of that. So if you see like my wish list, I guess it's public. Some friend pointed it out. She's like, oh, I saw it on your wish list. I'm like, wait, what? Judy calls. So
that one will be coming up, and it's a prompt, and I think the full book Gregory is also a
No
prompt.
one knows birthday last year. It's actually one that I requested because I really wanted to read it.
Marilla, and I have read it. We Were the Lucky Ones was the next one. I'm not even gonna write it down. So, after this video came out, somebody came and said, "You've tried reading that. You didn't like it." And so, sure enough, I picked it up, started reading a few pages. I'm like, oh, yeah. I decided this book was not for me, which is interesting because so many people rave about it, but I was like, nope, I don't want to read it. So that one's actually been scratched off my list, and it's gone, departed. God bless you. Moving on.
Sepetys is a recent find for me in authors, and I really like her. I have so many World War II books to read is because I
All
read
the Light We
World War
Cannot
II books.
See.
There just comes a time when you need to take a break from World War II. All the Light We Cannot See, yet again, another World War II book that I need to get to.
I have read that one.
At a thrift store after only hearing about it the week. Still have. And another one that I'm so excited to read about, especially after Angie from the Science Mama talked about it, that is The Martian by Andy. I wonder if this is one of those
I didn't have that one. Didn't finish it.
Weird. I don't know. But him.
It had too
We're
much
gonna
language
read
for
his
me.
book. Oh,
And the science went over me.
videos. Okay, so it's gonna go unaccurate most of
And
it.
it's supposed to be like
Entry-
dumbed down for us.
Yep.
If that's dumbed down, then
so
I
that-
am pretty.
I Lost on Venus
Look how
or
long.
Mars.
I have read both of those. The
For a
Julie
while,
Clausen
I would
books.
keep picking up Julie Lessman, thinking it was
Two
Julie
more.
Clausen.
Woohoo! Okay, and then In the Shadow of Croft Towers. That's another one that I just got rid of and didn't even watch.
I think this was in a.
And then Tamara Alexander with This Pledge. I did read that.
That was a good one.
And my daughter who's sitting next to me read that as well.
Hello.
So a
novel,
check mark.
What
Oh,
can
interesting.
A woman of your governess do against the scourge of slavery? Read it. This is The Princess. This one is also a Christian fiction, and I just wanted to reread it. This is The Princess by Lori Wick.
So I did read Straight Down a Crooked Path. Interesting. Most of the ones that I've read off my list are the Christian fictions. One
this
more
one
check
is
mark.
straight down a part.
So the video here showed a Louise Penny this Inspector Gamache series. I had shown, I think, like the second one, and I had the first one. I just swapped the two without realizing it. So I have read the first Inspector Gamache by Louise Penny, and I do have this one still to do. I'm like, do I count it though? Because the idea was to read the first one and see if I like it. I don't know that I'll continue the series, to be honest. I don't think it made much of an impression on me that I'm like dying to pick up the second one. So I think I'm just going to pass that on to my grandma and let her read them and see if she likes them. She can pass them on just as well as I can. So A Study in Charlotte, which is about like Sherlock Holmes's great-great-grand niece, and the boy is John Watson, I think, and he had to do with the he was like the doctor's assistant, or his ancestors were the doctor's assistant, or they were somehow connected to the Watson Sherlock family thing. So it's a prep school or boarding school or whatever in England, and oh my goodness, there was so much language on each page. I did not finish it. There was the whole the stuff that they do to like make you in clubs, and so that was another DNF for me. Got rid of that one.
Okay, so this forward by David
Wives
Martin.
of the Signers, which that would be a nonfiction. Okay. Reality check. There's one out of the nonfictions that I've read. I'm going to say 8. I put Wives of the Signers down. And then 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
of the fiction books that I have read out of 8 out of 21 of the fiction. So the stats aren't that great right now. That's just on this video. We still have the fiction or the classics that we want to read this year. I still have to do that one.
I barely got any done.
So that'll be the next part. Don't worry. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, this is 30 minutes by the time I edit all this. It'll probably be a longer video, but it should all be here, and then it's got my little chit chatterings. Just consider me your longer podcast. I have much more fun than a Downton Abbey episode, right? All right. I'm going to go feed the family, and then I'm going to pull up the classics, and then we're going to get a reality check with that one. Well, we're at the second part of books that I said I wanted to read in 2021. It's June. Let's see how far we are. Let's do this. First one was Father and Sons. That has a check. So the first one has a check. Silas Marner. I talk a lot. Emily. I realize I've just been like writing and not saying anything. So we had Fathers and Sons by Ivan Turgenev, and I did finish that. Silas Marner by George Eliot. I've not done that. I don't think I've done anything else. Let's be real. Silas Marner, nope. Emily of New Moon, nope. Anne's House of Dreams, no. Mother by Kathleen Norris, no. Mother's Carries Chickens by, I don't know what the author is. I think it's also Kathleen something. Dracula and Frankenstein. So I actually started Frankenstein. I had the audio book from Hoopla or Libby, and I didn't like the narrator, if I remember. So need to just pick it up. North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. Still haven't read it. It's okay if I wait for October. We have time. Oh yeah, Stepping Heavenward. Actually, that would be a really good one for me to begin right now, just due to a lot of things in my life. I think Stepping Heavenward would be actually a very timely read for me. I should get working on that. By Elizabeth Prentice. Actually, I am going to pull that out and begin reading that because that sounds amazing to me. Haven't read Elizabeth Janet Grey, but I did start Maggie McIntosh. That is going a little slowly. It starts off with basically she's in a house where they don't really want her, and so it's kind of like, how do we get rid of her kind of thing. So, like, okay. Young Walter Scott. Man. I think I'm going to be a rebel this month, and I'm not going to participate in Angie's historical read. We're doing Children of the Blizzard, which I really had high interest in until I recognized the author, and the author is when I've DNF'd 2 of her books. One was The Swans of Fifth Avenue, and that had a gay couple in there. Once we went into the bedroom, I was like, nope, I'm not going there. And what was the other one? I think it had to do with World War II. And I DNF'd. But I mean, it's a Blizzard, so there's not really a whole lot of sexual content you can get into that, but I don't know that I want to pick up another book like that right now. We did The Yellowbird Sings in March. May was The Four Winds. No, April was The Four Winds. May was Where the Lost Wander. I almost think like I need a break before I do that one, and I think I might just pick that up this winter. I think that would be a really good cozy winter read. And instead I'll use that time that I have set aside for that to read some of my classics. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh man, I'm tired. I have read The Obsession of Victoria Grayson. I love that one.
Who starts adopting these boys and basically
So she doesn't actually adopt them in a physical sense. They start coming to her because she's not stuck up Christian like the rest of them. And or the rest of society, who is basically, and it's why I like it so much, because teenagers have it so hard. You know, say teen and immediately people's mind go to rebellious, not quite adults, but rebellious human beings. And they conjure up all these ideas. And so these teens who try really hard, maybe they're not like a goody-goody two-shoes, but they're just fun and mischievous, and they're just them. People label as just, especially within the Christian community, as troublemakers without really giving them a chance. And if you notice, like, some of those that are really, they are mischievous and silly and maybe cause more destruction, or just don't think something through before doing things. That would be this teen right here. They just don't think about things before they do them. They're labeled as these troublemakers, and so they keep trying and they keep trying, and they're like, well, why are we trying? Like, you have put me as a label. Why not just, I can't meet your expectations. And I've seen a lot of those teens walk away from the church. I've seen a lot of those teens give up. And what I love about the obsession of Victoria Grayson is that she shows what is biblically true. And so she's like, okay, I'll go to this baseball game that Christians aren't supposed to go to. It's rowdy. It's nasty. I'll go to that, but in exchange, you need to come to church, and then if you want to hang out at my house afterwards, this is the kind of thing that's appropriate for Sundays, and this is what we're going to do. And they do it. And there's a gossip body that's like, look at this woman, look how she's being changed by this outside and poor influence. Like, we need to step in as a church and basically tell her that she needs to kick these kids away from her life, and she needs to be strong in her faith and upright and good and true. And it's so amazing to me that this is written back in the 30s, I think, and it's still so true today. Like, there's still people here that are like, these are children that you really shouldn't be around. Like, why do you talk to them? Like, don't you know that they have done all these things? And I can share a little bit. I can't share a whole lot, but I remember sitting in a car driving a young teen. He was a young man at this point, and he's just like, you know, why are you so nice to me, Shalise? Why are you so nice? He's like, if only you heard the things that I've done. And I'm like, I've heard. And he's like, wait, people talk about it? You know, people have told you? I'm like, I've heard. And he's like, but you have no idea. And he's pouring out what he's done. And I remember looking to him and saying, you love my kids so much. Would you be okay with if somebody else was acting the way you were acting with my daughter? And he just had this like moment of, no, nobody ever better treat her that way. And I'm like, then you be that man. And we just had that beautiful conversation. And it was one of those times. I need to share this with my Bible study group, because we just talked about this, about being emboldened in the Spirit. It was one of those times when everything that I wanted to say and needed the exact right words to say, I had it. And that doesn't happen to me very often. So it's definitely the Holy Spirit working here. And I don't know where he is in his life right now, but I know that he still kept in contact with me. He still chats with me, and a lot of the Christian people have not. So it's books like this that really just comfort me, and this is something that I can take away from. And then moments like that came up, I had something in my head to kind of go along with that. Probably have talked a little bit too long about this, so let's kind of move on here, because oh, Robin, see, oh my goodness, you guys. Frances Hodgson Burnett. Oh, Steinbeck, The Pearl. I did do that one. I did not like that. And I'm in the middle of 12 Years a Slave, yes. It's a little difficult for me to get into the writing style of it. but I still wanted to make it happen.
Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
So that's 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. 4 more, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, which those are all L.M. Montgomerys, and so I can tell you right now, I never read them. I have read some of them. The Blue Castle, haven't reread, I should say. And that one is a girl believes she's dying and basically wants to live her life and ends up marrying somebody that kind of says, you cannot go into this part of my life, and it's like this room, and just basically what happens there, which is funny because I was actually just thinking I want to do a L.M. Montgomery marathon. So, and then Jane of Lantern Hill. Okay, Mistress Pat and Pat of Silver Bush. And then Anna Karenina, which I believe I've scheduled for November.
Subtract another LM.
I want, Dr. Zhivago would be so good right now. So, okay, so out of the 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 books mentioned in that video, I've read 3. And it's June. Oh, we've got a lot of work to do, y'all. We have a lot of work. Okay, so the only other book or only other video that we've made of books we want to read is the 5 books that we want to read this summer. And I'll leave that down below. I don't think I'm going to add it to this. But I can tell you right now I haven't made any progress in that. But that's okay. Technically, summer begins on Monday by the calendar. So we'll be okay with that. So I'm going to wrap this video up and have a lot of editing. So, out of curiosity, we have 21 there. 21 plus 12 nonfiction is brain work. The 21 classics that I want to read, and then 21 ironically was the amount of fiction that I wanted to read from the first video. So that's 42. And then of the nonfiction books that I mentioned, I'm not going to do 12 classics. We're already in June and I have not done that. So I have 50 books that I wanted to read this year based off of those videos plus the 5 for the summer. So if you want to include that, 55. But let's just say from the beginning of the year till now, we have mentioned about 50 books. And I've read 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I've read 11. So like 1/5 of my goal. I need to get busy. I'm going to end here because I need to go get busy. Until next time, have another cup of coffee and read another chapter or 2, 10. I'll see you next time.